channel. It is February 8th, 2017, and one of the weirdest and most surprising weather anomalies is occurring right now as we speak. There is a massive North Pole hurricane moving directly up into the North Pole. This will cause temperatures in the North Pole to rise up to 60 degrees within the next 72 hours. And we're going to move directly into this information. Now, this is coming directly from the Washington Post. Massive hurricane force Atlantic storm to push abnormally mild air towards the North Pole. Well, I think they're downplaying the mild air because the air temperatures, as I was looking at them, are very high, almost like a summertime hurricane in the Atlantic Ocean. It states further, a gigantic powerhouse winter storm is charging through the North Atlantic and promises to flood the high Arctic with abnormally mild air. Arctic temperatures have blown past previous record highs in recent months, and this surge of relative warmth is just the latest in a long series that has amazed scientists. Also states, for the fourth time in just over a year, the North Pole may be near the melting point in wintertime. And ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I am bringing you this information, it's very simple. I have stated over and over again, once again, back in August and September and October, I warned everyone that we will have very significant signs that Planet X is closing in on us. And this will begin with earthquake activity, volcanic activity, and very severe weather changes. Now, folks, this has absolutely nothing to do with climate change. Absolutely nothing. Even though the climates are changing, this has nothing to do with the climate change hypothesis that was developed 30 years ago. And I'm going to bring you a report from a news station. And the weatherman is going to talk about climate change and models that they were using 30 years ago, and then they predicted that we would have a climate change. Well, it just so happens that over 30 years ago, the Nemesis solar system was discovered by Dr. Robert Harrington. And then the big conspiracy shutdown occurred. They murdered Robert Harrington because of his findings. God rest his soul. But now, we are right in the beginning stages of everything that he researched and predicted. One of his prediction was cataclysmic climate change. So let's move directly into this report. This is on CBS News. Let's listen to it.
A massive storm will be striking the North Atlantic, creating abnormally warm temperatures on Thursday. Temperatures near the North Pole are predicted to be 50 to 60 degrees warmer than normal, which is near the melting point. Now, with frequent warmer temperatures, lower sea levels, and more open water, scientists are extremely concerned. Meteorologist Jeff Baradelli has been tracking the storm from our affiliate WPEC in West Palm Beach, Florida. So, Jeff, explain to our viewers, why is this storm so alarming?
Well, first of all, Elaine, take a look at the storm. I mean, it looks like a hurricane. Now, we do occasionally see storms this strong in the North Atlantic, but they're unusual. As of yesterday, the storm had winds of 90 miles an hour, waves of 45 feet, and it looked like a hurricane from space. You can see the satellite review over the past 36 hours pushing all that warmth and moisture all the way deep into the Arctic. Scientists are concerned because this is the third time in about 3 months that we've seen what would be an extremely rare, extremely unusual, and remarkable event, and we're seeing it yet again. That area of low pressure pushing all that warm air to the North Pole. As we head into Wednesday and Thursday, we could briefly see the temperature get to around 32 degrees, and that is the melting point.
Well, so the question some people are going to have is how much is due to natural climate and how much is due to climate change? Do we know? Can we tell?
You know, it's a really good question. We definitely think that climate change has a hand in this. It's not everything. It's probably a bit of both, and scientists are really kind of racking their brains and putting a lot of effort into research on this. But take a look at this graphic. Since 1900, the Arctic has warmed up 4.5 degrees, the rest of the globe around 1.8 degrees. So a lot of the heating is taking place in the Arctic. But our computer models predicted this 20 or 30 years ago. We knew that it would probably warm quicker in the Arctic, and if it did, it was a sign that climate change is in fact happening, and it is happening. Take a look at this. I'll step out of the picture for you. That's a look at sea ice back in 1980. Now compare it to 2017. Now, this may be a warmer year. This may be an off year, and the sea ice may grow again more so as we head into next year. However, you can see that there's been a dramatic decrease in the amount of ice. And so what's causing that? Well, it's a good question. We think that it's just melting ice. You have very little sea ice causing warmer water, and that warmer water melting that sea ice. So it's kind of a positive feedback loop. This is the theory on what's happening with these systems for the past couple of months. Warm water gathered to the east of Greenland, causing a bubble of warm air in the atmosphere. We call it a ridge of high pressure, kind of pushing the jet stream north. What's happening is the jet stream is forced into the Arctic, into the North Pole, and it's bringing all that warm air with it.
All right, meteorologist Jeff Baradelli. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Well, there you go, folks.
A massive
This
storm will be
gentleman
striking the
just
North Atlantic,
seemed
creating
to not even know what he was talking about. To me, it sounded like a bunch of, okay, maybe, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Well, this right here is coming from the National Weather Service. And this is showing you this massive hurricane. And I lived in South Florida for 22 years. I've been through 13 major hurricanes. I know all about them. With wind speeds of 90 miles an hour, forcing waves to over 45 feet, well, folks, this is a northern Atlantic hurricane producing very warm air moving directly up into the North Pole. As you take a look at this long tail of this monster, it is going to wrap around, and it is already battering the coast of the UK, Scotland, and Ireland. And the weather will get much worse over the next 72 hours. Something that I wanted to show you, this is coming from the National Weather Service, and this is going to show you the rapidly intensifying North Atlantic hurricane forced low pressure. So let's just take a quick look at this. Very interesting what's happening. Now, this is the UK over here, up here in the right-hand corner where my cursor is. And if you watch this loop, you can see how this storm organizes very, very quickly. Why did it organize like this? Very simple. Because of how low the jet stream is right now around the Earth. The northern part of the jet stream is absolutely out of control and very, very erratic. Why is this? Well, do you think that there's a high possibility that the Earth's wobble and somewhat of an additional tilt has something to do with what's happening with the weather? We've gone over this many, many times. I'm going to show you something right now, and there have been several people that have claimed we're going to slip into a mini ice age. Well, I doubt that very highly, because last year, 2016, was one of the warmest time periods recorded. Take a look at this map right here. I'm going to show you something. And this is the jet stream. As you're looking at it, this is live information. Here's the United States. You can see all of this wild weather. I live in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. Yesterday, the temperature was 64 degrees. And right now, it is 5:35 in the morning. The temperature is 52 degrees. However, in the next 24 hours, the temperature will drop to a daytime high of 27 with a low of 17 degrees. But then, 48 hours later, it will be right back up into the 50s. Now, we're going to go ahead and zoom in, and you're going to see how this jet stream is winding around directly off of the east coast of the United States, wrapping straight up into the North Pole. There's Greenland. Now, Greenland right now has some very, very, very cold temperatures. This is just absolutely erratic weather. And you can see the jet stream. It is absolutely out of control. Looking at the jet stream in the South Pole, once again, you have a somewhat of a break right here. And you could just see, I'll just flip the Earth completely all the way around. There's your jet stream in the South Pole. We're going to take a look at the temperatures around the globe. So, do you think that the Earth is cooling down, or do you think the Earth is heating up? And what you're looking at right now, these are air temperatures. And you know, this is the equator. The orange and yellowish colors, even the greens and yellows, are showing higher temperatures. Let's take a look at the United States. You can see all these warm temperatures. Now, in the Midwest part of the United States, you can see how this massive swath of cold air, Arctic air, has only moved down into the central part of this country. The Northeast is completely warm. It is also causing very, very severe storms and tornadoes in the Southeast, from Texas all the way to the East Coast. Let's look at other parts of the country, or excuse me, the world. For any of you that live in the UK, well, you know what your weather should be like, but you can see that you have mild weather, very mild weather. But yet, you can see the huge swath of cold moving down, but leaving countries like France and Spain in mild weather. Let's take a look at the rest of the globe. Africa, naturally, should be very, very warm, and it is. Australia, extremely warm. Temperatures exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this is Australia's summertime, so they do have pretty warm weather. Moving down to the South Pole, you can see all the way around the South Pole. This is very, very, very mild weather. Very mild. You can see, folks, the Earth is not cooling down. It is actually heating up. Let's take a look at the North Pole. And once again, this is completely erratic weather for the North Pole. All of this warm air wrapping around and moving directly up into the North Pole. You can see it right here. Right here, folks. And it's going to move up in there within the next 72 hours. We'll keep monitoring it, but the situation that we're going to have with our weather systems, it's not going to get any better, folks. It's actually going to get worse. Just absolutely no doubt. And when these scientists start talking about climate change from 30 years ago, well, listen, folks, Dr. Robert Harrington discovered this system back in 1983. The information was presented to President Ronald Reagan. At that point in time, that's when every bit of information started getting shut down. Then they built the IRAS space telescope. They sent it into deep space. But they sent it into a very specific location. It was equipped with a very large infrared telescope and camera to image the Nemesis solar system, and it did. And it sent the photographs back. And then the conspiracy really began. Total shutdown on all information. This is when it began. Around 1993, 1994. It's really hard to say. Some of those images have slipped out. The information was publicized on the front page of the Washington Post. So, folks, I'm warning you. I've been warning everyone for quite a while. You could let all of the debunkers say whatever they want to say. You can let the naysayers say whatever they want to say. The bottom line is we are moving into a very critical state. Open up your eyes. All of the information is there. So what? We're not getting photographs of planets in our skies. But there are telltale signs that things are occurring in the order that they are supposed to occur. We've seen the increase in earthquake activity, now volcanic activity, and now very sudden weather changes. Very sudden. The only reason this is happening right now, and this is my belief, is that our Earth is tilting somewhat, more than it should be. And it would only take a few degrees, folks, 4, 5 degrees. Our magnetic North Pole is already traveling towards Siberia, towards the east. So if there is another larger body that has a very, very strong magnetic force, the possibilities of it interacting with our magnetic North Pole would tilt the Earth. It would cause an additional extreme wobble. The extreme wobble would definitely affect the jet stream. There is severe weather all over this planet. Something that we're going to cover later on today is the extreme animal die-offs just for the beginning of 2017 are incredible, unbelievable. Millions upon millions of aquatic and sea life and animals, birds, just dying in mass quantities. We saw this back in 2016, but already in the first 6 weeks of 2017, millions of animals, millions of fish, just simply dropping dead. Does anybody have an explanation for it? Well, we're working on it, but this is occurring. Now, as far as my YouTube channel goes, listen, folks, I was looking over some information, and YouTube gives a fantastic analytic and statistic background for YouTube channel creators. I was looking at some information today. 65% of people viewing my channel are not subscribed. So therefore, you're not going to be getting a notification from my channel when we're uploading new information. So folks, listen, if you are coming to the Nibiru channel and you're not subscribed and you're watching this video right now, when this video is finished, move yourself over to the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, and then move over to the little black bell and get your notifications set up today. Because I'm telling you, within the next 2 weeks, we are going to see more and more of these cataclysmic events. It's a fact, whether you want to believe it or not. The time is now. We have time to prepare. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is not just going to be an overnight event. This is something that our planet is going to go through possibly 6 months to 9 months, possibly even a year. So time for preparation begins today. And if you don't prepare, and we start to see more and more signs going into the last weeks of February and the beginning of March and moving into the spring, you may not get a chance for preparation. The use of money may not be available. We may be into total power loss, no electricity throughout the entire globe. What are you going to do then? If you have a family, husband, wife, children, You owe it to your entire family and yourself to get things prepared. Now, I'm going to be putting together a video on this preparation. I think everybody needs to watch it. There's nothing wrong with being prepared, folks. We are going into some very trying times, and later on this afternoon, I'm going to have Jeff P. from YouTube, who does a lot of Planet X research and also biblical research. We're going to be doing a live show today, a live stream on YouTube. We're going to be talking about things in the Bible that are starting to connect specifically with what is happening on the planet as we speak. Gil Broussard, Planet X researcher, fantastic man. He has gone through the biblical research on Planet X, and folks, it is all coming into play. You can think what you want to think, and everybody doesn't like change, but what we are about to go through is going to be the biggest change of your life. So once again, I'm going to leave links to all of this information. You can check it out yourself. Later on this afternoon, me and Jeff P. will be together doing a live stream, and we're going to be putting out a lot of information. So make sure everyone stays tuned. If you are not subscribed to this Nibiru channel, at the end of this video, move over to the subscription button, click on it, and set your notifications up so you can stay informed. Thank you for watching. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Nibiru channel. It is February 8th, 2017, and one of the weirdest and most surprising weather anomalies is occurring right now as we speak. There is a massive North Pole hurricane moving directly up into the North Pole. This will cause temperatures in the North Pole to rise up to 60 degrees within the next 72 hours. We're going to move directly into this information. Now, this is coming directly from the Washington Post. Massive hurricane force Atlantic storm to push abnormally mild air towards the North Pole. Well, I think they're downplaying the mild air because the air temperatures, as I was looking at them, are very high, almost like a summertime hurricane in the Atlantic Ocean. It states further, a gigantic powerhouse winter storm is charging through the North Atlantic and promises to flood the high Arctic with abnormally mild air. Arctic temperatures have blown past previous record highs in recent months, and this surge of relative warmth is just the latest in a long series that has amazed scientists. Also states, for the fourth time in just over a year, the North Pole may be near the melting point in wintertime. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I am bringing you this information, it's very simple. I have stated over and over again, once again, back in August and September and October, I warned everyone that we will have very significant signs that Planet X is closing in on us. And this will begin with earthquake activity, volcanic activity, and very severe weather changes. Now, folks, this has absolutely nothing to do with climate change. Absolutely nothing. Even though the climates are changing, this has nothing to do with the climate change hypothesis that was developed 30 years ago. And I'm going to bring you a report from a news station. And the weatherman is going to talk about climate change and models that they were using 30 years ago, and then they predicted that we would have a climate change. Well, it just so happens that over 30 years ago, the Nemesis solar system was discovered by Dr. Robert Harrington. And then the big conspiracy shutdown occurred. They murdered Robert Harrington because of his findings.